Wow, there is a lot going on. There's so much going on in the week of the Chael Day 4. First off, if you've got Netflix, go watch the Joe Rogan special. He's so funny. I forgot how funny that guy was because I think his persona on his podcast has so much run and is so popular that Joe Rogan on his podcast isn't the Joe Rogan that I like to begin with. And that was the comedian Joe Rogan. Man, he is so funny. He is so funny. Go on Netflix and watch his last special. It'll make you belly laugh. All right. There you go, Joe Rogan. This week's the week of depression. And I want to throw some shout outs to some people that contacted me. I'm not actually going to throw the shout outs because it's a show and you guys are going through some stuff. So let's not put your name to it. I struggle with depression. Most of my depression is self-inflicted. And what does that mean? That means, and I said this a couple weeks ago, I said my number one enemy is alcohol. And when I said that, I had a bunch of people contact me, and I appreciate that. For me, it's a 5-day cycle. Get boozed up on Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, man, the bad man is right next to me telling me how horrible I am. During that time, I'm eating terrible, then spinning me into the depression mode. I'm not working out. It's a vicious cycle for me. A lot of people that alcohol cycle is quite a bit more than that, where it's really, really bad. The alcohol for me is what kickstarts my depression, which then murders my exercise and mental well-being. It's just the tip for me is the booze. And I'm not trying to make light that I'm better than you or this, that, and the other. The reality is the depression, however the hell you get into the depression, doesn't really matter. Whether it's booze that got you there or life that got you there, or the fact that the way depression works is if you have depression, if you are afflicted by depression, I've spoken about this before, it's like walking in quicksand. I was in quicksand yesterday. Oh my goodness, I was in quicksand. And I'm not in it right now. So what happens when you're in quicksand on Wednesday and you're not in quicksand on Thursday? Man, you're looking around waiting for the bad man to come. That's a true statement. During that time, you can make bad decisions. All right, I'll start my diet tomorrow. Hey, I'll get off the booze tomorrow. Why? Today's a good chance. You're feeling good. You want to feel good. If you feel good and your goal is to feel good, don't put off anything. We have the slogan, one day in or one day out. So for those of you that contacted me and told me that you're going through some things, stop digging. Put the booze away. Put the food away. Go get a sweat. You don't even have to get a workout in. Go sit in the hot box. You're embarrassed for being fat as hell? I get that. Load up, put the biggest shirt you have on and go sit in the hot box and get a sweat and drink some water. You're going to feel better. Baby steps. If you felt like shit yesterday and today you wake up and you felt good, man, go with it. So depression's a real thing, man. I've had it. my entire life, I did not know, I was not in grips with it truly until I went off to the federal college that I went to, the federal vacation that I went to for 6 months and 14 days. I've been in a depressive state of mind for quite some time, where it's the cycle of food and I'm a day. Tomorrow will be I've had a full day in. None of that shit matters, but my reality is and listen, for you guys that don't struggle with depression or don't want to hear it, just wait a minute. I'll talk about some other shit in a second, or just fast forward. Just fast forward through this. I'll be done with it in a second. Yeah, man, that's my pep talk for the day, man. I love it that I don't love it that Max Holloway came out and said, "Hey, man, I was depressed, and you got to talk to some people, and boom, I'm all better now." Yeah, maybe, but there's depression caused by situations that are not good. Whereas Max came out and said, he was depressed because he lost some things. He lost a fight. He not a fight, but he lost making weight, and he got hurt, and he had some things around him that would lead him to not feel good about it. Is that depression? No, not in the clinical sense. It's not. It's I'm sad. I'm sad because I don't have those things, and I'm resentful because other people are getting the shine. My takeaway from Max, and I'm not a professional on depression other than living with it for the better part of my life. My feeling on Max was he was sad. But it doesn't really matter what the clinical view is. This is somebody with some credibility and some shine right now, as opposed to me, just another guy on the planet. So if that helps, if it helps you, because here's the reality: when you're depressed, nothing's getting you out of it. Okay? When you are depressed, there's not one single thing that you can do that's going to get you out of it. But you can do some things that won't keep you in it. Don't eat like shit. Don't go get boozed up. Don't smoke weed. Don't take drugs. The sun will come out. But in a depressive state, man, it's so hard to talk to anybody, to pick up the phone, to do anything. You can know, and I've known this for quite some time, man, where's my motivation? Okay, maybe I can get it there. Maybe I can get it there. I should be able to get it here. And nothing. How do I fight through this? Well, one day at a time. And if it can't be one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. And if it can't be 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. That's not trying to be no AA bullshit. But the reality is, that's how it is. I've not eaten shit today. Okay, cool. It's 9:00. You just got up. Well, I get up early. Anyway, wanted to roll out some depression talk in the week of Chael. Let's talk a little bit about Chael. There's some things you can pick up from a open workout, and some things you can't. When Chael fought Marquardt back in whenever the hell it was, if Vlad was here, he would tell me the date and the time in 2 seconds. When Chael fought Nate Marquardt, he was a pretty good size underdog, and Nate was pounding his chest about his wrestling. You gotta understand, Chael's son has been wrestling, God, I think since he was 10 years old, or maybe even before. And he hadn't had very much time off. Okay? That cat knows how to wrestle. And he's a wrestling fan. That makes it quite a bit different. If for instance, for me, I haven't wrestled for 100 years. I can still wrestle, quite frankly, because I'm still a fan of wrestling. I still look at the positioning. So anyway, Chael's been wrestling for 100 years, and he's really, really good at it. And, 10 years ago or 8 years ago, whenever the hell it was, he'd still been wrestling for 100 years, and he was even better at it. He was a little bit younger, a little bit faster, a little bit leaner. But we watched Nate Marquardt on, one of those behind the scenes or something on the internet or whatever, and we immediately looked at ourselves like, oh, wow, this cat don't know how to wrestle. Like, a dude pounding his chest and everybody telling you that he's so good at wrestling. He's so great at wrestling. He's like GSP. You start to believe that because you hear other people saying it until you look at it like we did that day and we said, oh, wow. Okay. And it was a huge motivation. It was a huge motivation for him. And I believe to this day, it probably really, really helped him win that fight by watching that. Well, yesterday in Fedor's open workout, he went over the opening to his fight. And I understand this. For me, I always wanted to get, I didn't fight that much, five, 6 times, whatever it was. But the whole opening for me of how I was going to start the fight was a big deal. Well, he kept going to the opening over and over and over again yesterday. And I guarantee he's going to walk out to the center of the ring and he's going to throw, what was it? It was right, left, uppercut, a 4-piece combo. I mean, that's his plan. And he thinks he's going to dust up old Chael P. Well, it's a lot easier hitting mitts than it is hitting somebody that's coming in to run his head through your chest. So Fedor's showing us his opening. We could show him our opening. Man, I'm going to walk across the ring and throw a punch and blast my fucking head through your fucking chest and not stop until I'm on top of you because I've been doing it for 100 fucking years. I don't care about your sambo. I don't care about all the other shit in the world and your big hips and this, that, and the other. I can take you down and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it 3 times, and I'm going to pound a hole in your head, and I'm going to go fight for the world championship at heavyweight. And I'm going to be one of the people that Joel keeps talking about all the time that don't exist very often, and that is the people that make it to the top. Make it to the very top, or real close to the very top. Then fall off a little bit, and then have a resurgence. To have the guts and the balls to do that again is admirable. And if I was talking to Chael, that's what I would tell him today. All right, let's run through the rest of this real quick. Man, where do I start? I can just start anywhere because it's going to be fast and furious. Gustafsson against John Jones, December 29th. That fight has been announced. I believe that fight will take place. I really do. I believe that fight will take place. It's for a world championship. Probably have to go with John Jones. And that's a good fight to look forward to. Holloway and Ortega, that fight was announced. I do not believe that fight will go through. I think the weight cut for Max is too much. If he waits, if he doesn't lean himself out properly, man, some grown men, tall. Max he's tall. He's not supposed to be 145 pounds. He had a hard time. He couldn't make 155. I think Max is fighting outside of his division. I think he's going to have the yips a little bit when it comes down that hard stretch. The best thing for Max would do is to relinquish his title and move up to 155 pounds and start feeling good about himself. Don't make that belt who you are, dude. That would be I hope I'm a Max guy. I hope he makes weight. I hope I'm wrong. Hope he gets down. And Ortega's an easy guy to like too. I hope Holloway wins that fight. I hope that fight happens. I hope he wins it, and I hope I'm wrong. But I don't see that fight happening. Ali Aquina and Kevin Lee, that fight will happen. Kevin Lee might miss weight. Here's another guy that's fighting outside of his division. Is 170 pound his division? No. 155 pound his division? No. Is 162 pounds his division? Yes, probably. They need more divisions. They just do. You have, I'll get to that real quick. I'm going to fly through this thing. So that fight's going to happen. Kevin Lee's really, really good. He really is. I would probably pick him for that fight. I don't think he'll make weight. They moved JJ. They moved JJ, Joanna John Jacek. Good job saying that name. Back into the title fight with the Bullet, Valentin Shevchenko. And they screwed this girl named Sonia Eubanks. I think she was going to fight for the ultimate. She was going to fight for the title, but she didn't make weight. I think that's what happened. I don't know what it is. I don't know who this gal is. I believe her record's 3-2. But man, this is a different world we live in. Okay, you gotta get that Twitter. You gotta get that stuff away from these people, because she comes out and puts Dana White on blast. That guy hears everything. He's like the boogeyman, okay? Calls him a coward and says it's a circus and this, that, and other. Girl, you're 3-2 and nobody knows who you are. And you're telling Dana White to quit running this thing like a circus. That's not a good idea, young lady. That is not a good idea. Oh, man, it's crazy. There was some blowback. I got a lot of, I said that'll work out for you, which was facetious. I didn't mean that. And I got a lot of responses. And one of the responses was, this is the new generation of people, fighters, that believe they're entitled to something, and they're not. Now let's get to somebody that is entitled to something and is getting the shaft. His name is Stipe. He is the former world heavyweight champion. He cleaned out the division and defended his title 3 times, which is a record for heavyweights. Got knocked out by Daniel Cormier, and now the rematch is going to a huge underdog, an 8-1 underdog, the lovable underdog, my balls was hot underdog, Derek Lewis. And they're fighting in New York in less than a month, 3 weeks. Well, Stipe's pissed. He should be. Derek Lewis is cool. He's like, yeah, man, I was excited about that. I believe Derek Lewis when he talks because he's so real. He says, I think I can beat anybody. I know he's better than me. It may not happen in the first round or the second round, but just like it did in the last round, he knocked old boy out. Do I think he can beat DC? Yeah, of course. A guy that hits that hard, that's that big and that strong, yes, he could catch DC. I hope DC is not that in love with it, because DC just looked at this thing and said, I'll be able to beat Derek Lewis anytime ever in my life. I'll take him down and pound him out. I mean, his hands broke, I think. But DC took that fight on short notice because he is so confident he can win. Whereas DC's done everything right as a company man. Represented the sport real well against and his nemesis is a guy that has not represented the sport very well. John Jones, who may be the best fighter that's ever done this. So this is simple to see from a guy that watches the sport is, yeah, they didn't offer the fight to Stipe because I don't think DC would have took that fight on short notice. DC's not in shape. He's not. Chael was just out there last week. He couldn't roll around last week. His hand was all bandaged up. All right, so he's going to go get 2 weeks of training in and fight and fight Derek Lewis. Well, the good news is Derek Lewis isn't going to get in that much better shape than he was in this weekend, and that wasn't that good. So DC just looks at it like, I can beat that guy whenever. Then I'm going to go fight Brock Lesnar, and then maybe I might walk away into the sunset with that FU money. When the FU money's not good enough and you need to stay in the shine, I get that. People think they don't want to be rich and famous until they're no longer rich and famous, until nobody's asking for their autographs anymore. Go back in the history books and look at all the people that ever had any bit of shine. Go talk to them. They'll be the ones that are real with you. Okay? Not the people on top and everybody around them telling them they're the greatest people in the world. So, on day 4 of the week of Chael, I wish you guys a great day. Peace.